Saturday, 19th February 2022. To present the news, my name is Priscilla Muzyamba. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines. President Hakainde Hichilema meets European Investment Bank EIB delegation. Nakachinda pleads not guilty to the charge of defamation of the president. At least 16 people have been killed as Storm Eunice carved a deadly trail across Europe. 10 people have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in Somalia on the eve of a local election. Harry Maguire will remain Manchester United captain for the rest of the season. And Michael Andretti applies to field a Formula One team in 2024. And now the news. Patriotic Front PF Party Chairperson for Information and Publicity, Honorable Raphael Nakachinda, has pleaded not guilty after having been charged with defamation of the president, and his case will proceed in the subordinate court. Meanwhile, his lawyer Francis William Daka of Makebi Zulu and Associates has said that since the charge raises the question of the constitutionality involving the head of state, who has immunity against litigation, the matter will also proceed in the Constitutional Court, and that the trial has been set for 1st April 2022. President Hakainde Hichilema has held a meeting with European Investment Bank EIB delegation led by its president Werner Hoyer. President Hichilema said that during the meeting, he briefed Dr. Hoyer about Zambia's 3 priorities, which are to recover, repair, and revive the economy, adding that Zambia is keen on cooperating with the EIB on priority areas such as climate mitigation, infrastructure development, small and medium enterprise support, and human development. President Hichilema said that the EIB delegation was informed that even though his administration inherited a bad economy, saddled with high inflation and interest rates, coupled with unsustainable debt, his team is determined to put the country back on track. He reiterated that he is keen on rooting out corruption completely so that any partnership with the EIB will be properly structured to benefit both parties and most especially the people of Zambia. The president used the opportunity to sell Zambia's tourism as well as send a message to investors that the country is open for joint ventures and that Zambians are ready to revitalize the economy. In international news, at least 16 people have been killed as Storm Eunice carved a deadly trail across Europe. Deaths were reported in Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Poland, the Irish Republic, and the UK as fierce winds felled trees and sent debris flying. Millions of homes and businesses lost power across Europe, and transport networks were left in disarray. The Dutch Coast Guard said it was trying to locate 26 empty shipping containers lost in the North Sea. 4 people died in the Netherlands, all hit by falling trees, and another 4 were killed in Poland. 3 people were killed on roads in England, 2 more died in Germany, and 2 people have died in Belgium, including a man hit on the head by a solar panel blown off a building in Ghent.
Look at this, folks, look at this.
Fierce winds forcing planes to a standstill. The gales over Heathrow proving too much for some aircraft. Others stuck the landing after several attempts.
Easy, easy. Go on, son. Oh.
Storm Eunice battered the British capital. Gusts of up to 120 kilometres an hour shredded the roof at the O2 Arena. With the fabric in tatters, the stadium was evacuated. For the first time ever, London was subject to a red weather warning.
Storm Eunice is the worst storm we've faced in 3 decades. It's really important we don't inadvertently put ourselves in harm's way by being outdoors.
Much of the southern UK felt Eunice's fury. Hundreds of thousands lost power as homes were torn apart. Mountainous swells surged up the Cornwall coastline and beaches closed in Brighton. Train cancellations were widespread as crews hurriedly worked to clear tracks. Winds toppled generations-old trees and a historic spire. The strongest gust at 196 kilometres per hour is provisionally the strongest ever wind recorded in England.
To see these strong winds inland across the south, where we just don't see them that often, that has been one of the biggest factors with Storm Eunice.
At least 9 people have died across the UK and Northern Europe. As the storm tracked east, trees and rubble were left in its wake. A crane careened into this Belgium hospital. Winds whipped up sand and sent waves crashing onto walkways along the northern European coastline.
More in international news. At least 10 people have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in Somalia on the eve of a local election. The blast happened in the central city of Beledweyne at a restaurant popular with politicians and local officials. Reuters news agency says one of the people killed was a candidate in Somalia's ongoing parliamentary vote, which was supposed to end last December. Al-Shabaab militants have admitted to carrying out the attack. The Islamist group has been fighting Somalia's government for more than a decade and retains a stronghold on parts of the country. It has increased attacks of late, with 2 other blasts in the past fortnight. According to the FP news agency, security has been tightened in Beledweyne ahead of a first round of voting for parliamentary seats. Somalia's electoral process has been dragging on after months of political standoffs between the Prime Minister and the President over the conduct of delayed elections. The elections are set to be completed on 25th February, 2 months later than initially planned. The process involves clan elders and other delegates selecting lawmakers for the national parliament, who will in turn choose a president.
Shifting our focus now to Somalia, where at least 15 people have been killed and dozens have been wounded in a suicide bombing attack at a restaurant in central Somalia. The incident took place in the Somali city of Beledweyne and on Saturday after a suicide bomber detonated an explosive vest at a crowded eatery, injuring mostly civilians. Nearby cars and buildings also suffered significant damage due to the blast.
meesha maanta dad badan ku dhamaaday maqaayad oo shacabku uu leeyahay oo dadka shacabka aad ugu fadhiisan jireen ayay maanta nimankii dhaqaaqabaha ay ku laayeen dad ugu soo galeen maqaayadina maqaayad shacab ay ahayd dad badan ku dhintay.
Prime Minister Mohammed Hussein Roble meanwhile has condemned the attack and has extended his condolences to the families of the victims. The attack took place despite security being tightened in Beledweyne on the eve of a first round voting for parliamentary seats. The parliamentary polls began on the 1st of November last year, were initially supposed to end on the 24th of December, but are currently due to be completed on the 25th of February. The hardline Islamist group Al-Shabaab meanwhile has claimed responsibility for the attack. Al-Shabaab is an Al-Qaeda affiliated group that aims to topple the Somalia federal government. They have conducted frequent attacks in recent weeks targeting government officials and civilians.
In sports news, Harry Maguire will remain Manchester United captain for the rest of the season. Interim manager Ralph Rangnick confirmed on Friday, amid reports of a power struggle in the dressing room with Cristiano Ronaldo. Maguire's poor form has played a major role in United's struggles this season. It had been reported that the world's most expensive defender felt undermined by Ronaldo's influence, but Maguire denied the claim, and Rangnick insisted his status as captain has never been questioned. More in the world of sports, Mario Andretti announced on Twitter that his son Michael applied to field a Formula One team in 2024 and is waiting to hear from the FIA. The younger Andretti was in talks last year to take over Sauber's Alfa Romeo Formula One team. However, the two sides reportedly could not reach an agreement.
We are also keeping an eye on a very big story involving Formula One and Andretti Autosport. Earlier tonight, Mario Andretti tweeting this, quote, Michael, as in his son, has applied to Formula One to field a new F1 team starting in 2024. The entry, which will be called Andretti Global, has the resources, it checks every box, and now it is in Formula One's court. So this was rumored late last year that Andretti was interested in Formula One. This is much more formal than anything we have heard from the family. This will become one of the top stories in motorsports overnight. Colton Herta, who may be in line to make a jump at some point to Formula One, on his expectations for Andretti in the States for IndyCar in 2022.
You know, there's been huge progress since I've joined the team of them, you know, making the cars better, and it's been on an upward spiral. So it's been great to be a part of, and I think we're really in the place that there are very few tracks that we kind of aren't great at and just good at, which still means we could finish in the top 10. But there are some places that we still need to work on, but for primarily road, street courses, ovals, we have it pretty dialed down and we have great cars.
Now, as we end the news, we take a look at the stories making headlines. President Hakainde Hichilema meets European Investment Bank EIB delegation. Nakachinda pleads not guilty to the charge of defamation of the president. At least 16 people have been killed as Storm Eunice carved a deadly trail across Europe. 10 people have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in Somalia on the eve of a local election. Harry Maguire will remain Manchester United captain for the rest of the season. And Michael Andretti applies to field a Formula One team in 2024. On that note, we've come to the end of the news. My name is Priscilla Muziamba. God bless.